I call the meeting of the San Juan Unified School District Board of Education to order. There are two closed session items on tonight's agenda. First, conference with legal counsel. Existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 sub D sub 1. Name of case, Magali Kincaid, Benito Juarez Neighborhood Association, Neighborhood Elections Now, Juan Iniguez, Carolina Flores, Damaris Canton versus San Juan Unified School District, complaint for violation of the California Voting Rights Act, and in the alternative for violation of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and the California Constitution. Sacramento Superior Court case number 34-2020-002-86475. The second item is collective bargaining matters, discussion with the negotiator Daniel Thigpen, Senior Director, Labor Relations, regarding CSEA Chapter 127, General Operations Support, chauffeurs, Teamsters Local 150, transportation supervisors and teachers and supervisory units, and regarding non-represented groups, management and confidential units, Government Code Section 54957. Do we have any speaker cards? We do not. Okay. Therefore, we will now move to closed session and we will return to open session at 6:30. The San Juan Unified School District Board of Education back to order. The meeting is being audio and video recorded, and the recording may capture sounds and images of those attending this meeting. The recording will be posted on the district website. Board meetings are being held in person in the boardroom at the district office, and the public is welcome to attend. Individuals attending in person are requested to keep their mask on for the duration of their time at the meeting. Staff has been stationed outside the boardroom to ensure that all in-person participants are aware of the mask requirement. Alternatively, the meeting may also be viewed on the district's YouTube channel where it is being live streamed. Please stand for the presentation of the colors by the Del Campo High School Air Force Junior ROTC. Colors, arch, Good evening and welcome. I am Michael McKibben, Board President. To my right is Ms. Zima Creason, Board Vice President. To her right is Mr. Saul Hernandez and Ms. Paula Villasquez, Board members. To my left is Superintendent Ken Kern, and to his left is Board Administrative Assistant Stephanie Cunningham. Ms. Pam Costa is absent tonight due to illness. These are the two methods that are available to offer a public comment at board meetings. First, individuals who wish to offer a comment remotely are asked to complete a request to speak by 1 p.m. today via the district website at www.sanjuan.edu board meeting. Those who have requested to offer a comment remotely have been provided a link to join the meeting via computer, software, or phone. Second, for those who are attending the meeting in person, we ask that you complete a speaker request card available at the staff table, and you will be called on at the appropriate time during the agenda. Please note that the board bylaw 9323 limits visitor comments to 2 minutes per speaker, with no more than 30 minutes per single topic. Time will be extended for any speaker who uses an interpreter. Please be aware that public comments, including your name, become part of the public record. We move now to the first item, which is item D, approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes for February 15th?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Creason. Seconded by
Second.
Ms. Villasquez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is unanimous. We move to item E. This is the high school student council reports. Tonight, we will hear from student representatives from Miraloma High School and Casa Roble Fundamental High School. Welcome. Let's begin with Abigail Pearson and Emma Von Tran from Miraloma.
Good evening, President McKibben, Ms. Cunningham, members of the board, and distinguished guests. My name is Abby Pearson.
And my name is Emma Pham Tran.
We are here representing Miraloma High School, and we are very excited to share with you some of the activities and events that have been happening on our campuses these past few months, and some things that we are looking forward to in the future.
Starting off with one of our most popular Miraloma traditions, we are so grateful to be able to host this year's annual Sportsorama, or SAR. SAR is a competition between the various classes, the graduating classes at Miraloma High School, and we use various non-traditional games on the night of the event. This has become a student and staff favorite in the past, and we are fortunate enough this year to have a modified version adhering to COVID guidelines. The turnout from students has been amazing so far, with each class having over 45 student participants. And we invite you to come experience the madness that is Sportsorama on April 1st from 7 to 9 p.m.
Miraloma Matadors have great spirit, which leads me to our next activity, which is our More Love, Less Hate Spirit Week, which we held the week of February 14th to February 18th, with the help of our amazing Miraloma Pride Club. We had some great spirit days with some inclusive activities showing the spirit of love on campus. We also had performances by our B Sharps Club and held an outdoor rally through student government that was a great success. We're glad to host more spirit weeks in the future.
Back to SAR events, a portion of the competition is based on preliminary events that are held for all students to participate in. One of these was held last Thursday, and it was called Skate Night. Over 350 Miraloma students and their families and friends attended the event at Foothill Skate Inn, which was one of the best turnouts we've ever had. Foothill agreed to donate half of the proceeds to the class accounts, with us earning over $1,000 in profit.
On a more athletic level, our track and field team had their first meet last weekend. We had one of our sophomores take first in the 1800 and the 1600, and another taking first in the 200 meter and the high jump. Our girls soccer team also went to playoffs in the first time in over a decade, and boys tennis is having yet another successful season, and we are ready for spring sports to be in full action.
In regards to our upcoming events, one of our clubs, National History Day, is having a competition this Saturday at Indercombe High School, and we are very excited to see how our 6 submissions place and are cheering them on. For another academic club that has competitions coming up is Moot Court, and they have 7 Mariloma teams this year, and their first 3 rounds are scheduled for March 16th, 22nd, and 24th at the Sacramento Superior Courthouse. We hope to see our teams continue to advance to semifinals and finals as they have done in the previous years.
On April 20th, we are hosting our International Night from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. This is one of the many events where we are able to celebrate the diversity of our campus. Our culture clubs are working together to put on different performances such as traditional dances, presentations on customs, etc. We would love to see you all there if you're free.
On top of all of our wonderful athletics, activities, and events, Mariloma prides itself on our academic success. Last time Abby and I were here, we were able to share a little bit about IB testing fees. Now, going further into the second semester, students and teachers alike are preparing for IB testing, and that schedule starts late April. Our junior and senior IB certificate, associates, and diploma students have begun studying and practicing via mock exams in their classes for these rigorous tests. We wish them the best of luck. As for our freshman and sophomore IB middle years program students, they recently submitted their half-year personal project to the IB for assessment and are having their personal project showcase on April 4th, where they're able to see each other's hard work. It will be a virtual link and we will remain open indefinitely.
These freshmen and sophomore students have also started working on their version of a World's Fair, choosing topics varying from Italy to neuroscience, where these students will become masters on the subject to present to the whole school on April 22nd. We're very proud of all their work and are looking forward to seeing their creations.
Our Mariloma Future Business Leaders of America Club has had great success at a recent regional competition. We took 12 individual first place medals and totaled 84 individual placements. In the team events, Mariloma took 5 out of 7 events, ranging from the entrepreneurship to international business, placing 2nd and 3rd in the other 2 events. As in previous years, Mariloma took 1st in the sweepstakes event as well. The Mariloma Academic Decathlon team took 5th place overall in this year's Sacramento County Academic Decathlon competition, where 15 total teams competed. We received 2 gold medals and 2 silver medals, and the team itself placed bronze for the super quiz.
We are having similar success in speech and debate. Last weekend, our teams participated in the CHSSA state debate qualifiers. In public forum, we had 4 teams qualify and 2 teams qualify in policy. One of our speech members also took 3rd place and is advancing to states. In the NCFL qualifier tournament, we had 13 students qualify to compete in Washington, D.C. on Memorial Day weekend. We're very proud of our matadors.
2 of our students also qualified for the American Invitational Mathematics exam, which only the top 2.5% of mathematics students are invited to participate in. Our school's on-site leadership also recently hosted listening circles to develop action steps to help improve our campus. We have completed 2 rounds and the 3rd is scheduled for March 17th. The 5 parts of this plan include improving the following: school property, the divide between IB and non-IB program students, verbal harassment and violence, special education, and school food.
Another program going on at Mariloma that I'm very happy to bring to your attention today is the Improve Your Tomorrow, or IYT program. This is one of Mariloma's college preparatory programs aimed at our male students of color. Their mission is to increase the number of young men of color attending and graduating colleges. We are blessed to have this program on campus, and they have a 95% graduation rate in their graduating classes of the past 5 years, and we are happy to invest in our students of color.
Thank you so much for your time tonight, listening to just some of the many events, academics, and features of Mariloma High School. Please feel free to come to any of our upcoming showcases and events so we can share with you just how special our campus is.
Thank you very much. Shall we applause first and then questions? Do any board members have questions or comments on the things? Ms. Fiascos.
Thank you, President McKibben. Thank you both very much for the presentation. Always lovely to hear about all the activities from my alma mater. I wanted to see if you could just repeat the date for the international night. I know it's a really big event and I missed the date on that.
April 20th, I believe.
From 5 to 8 p.m.
Wonderful. Really appreciate the reports out and look forward to seeing you both on campus again later this spring. Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you for your report. Sounds like you guys are busy there at Mariloma, which is outstanding. What did you call that? Improve your what club?
Improve your tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Thank you very much. That's outstanding report.
Miss
Just going to echo my colleagues and say thank you so much for your report. It's so great to hear all the activities are happening. You guys are doing your thing and enjoying the back end of this school year. And thank you for all the invitations to attend your events. I love going to school events. So if you can, when I know this is putting a lot on you, but whenever that information is floated up to district office, it can be put on the board calendar. So, all of us love to attend what we can. We can't all be at everything, but please just let us know because we would love to come out and support and be around for you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm a little confused, and that's not unusual, I'm afraid. On April 20th was International Night from 5 to 8. But you said World's Fair was on April 22nd? Is that-
Yes.
And what is that compared to the International Night? Did I get it wrong?
No, you're good. No, International Night is it's our version of an open house where we're
Yeah.
able to have our culture clubs be involved. And then World's Fair, it's specifically a part of the IB middle years program.
It is
Okay.
for specifically sophomores, and it is a project they have in their classes, which they are graded on.
Okay, because I've been to the International Night before, and I was saying, well, I need to get this straight, so that, and thank you very much. Yeah, these nights are great, and the work that the students do on these things are absolutely phenomenal. Thank you very much.
Of course, thank you.
Next, we hear from Kaylee Gibbs and Dylan, I'm going to mess it up, Saucedo? Okay, from Casa Roble High School, Fundamental High School.
Good evening, President McKibben, members of the board, Superintendent Kern, and Ms. Cunningham. I am Dylan Saucedo, student athlete and student government co-president.
And I'm Kaylee Gibbs, student government co-president as well.
We appreciate the opportunity to represent Casa Roble High School in this meeting, as we have some great things to talk about today. First and foremost, we've had a great year all around in athletics. 8 of our programs had playoff caliber seasons, including varsity football making an appearance in the section semifinals, cross country's Dakota Gibson placing 63rd at the CIF state meet, varsity wrestling wiping out the GEL in both boys and girls, as well as being section champs on the girls' side. Wrestling also produced Haley Gumfer in 2nd and Casey Rankin in 5th at the CIF state meet. Boys basketball, as well as girls soccer, showed their Ram pride all the way until the last whistle for a spot in their respective playoffs. The girls basketball team advanced in their playoffs for the first time since 1998. On top of these great accomplishments, our Ram family will be producing 10 college athletes this June and many more in the next few years. This year has been very rough for events and activities, but on February 15th, we finally spread our wings again. Casa Roble Student Government held the biggest event of the past 2 years in our stadium with the Battle of the Classes flag football. And it was amazing. Each class had a flag football team and battled it out on the field for the Casa Cup. We held 7 games in 3 hours, with participation from over 100 students and 10 staff members. Each class played each other, and then the top seeded juniors played the number 2 ranked sophomores in the Casa Cup, where the juniors would be named champions. The event made a full profit of over $500 and sparked back life into our Ram pride. Next year, we are slated to hold 4 separate Battle of the Classes events throughout the school year. In the final stretch of the school year, we as student government have a few things planned. First, we plan to open up our Ram Shack at lunch to sell Ramware such as sweatpants, t-shirts, and jackets. This will also open up opportunities for sales experience to students and revenue for future events. Next, we plan to host Casa's Prom at her CASA's prom dance at Elks Tower in downtown Sacramento on May 14th at 7 p.m. Our students are excited to experience the elegance of prom, as most of them have never been to a prom. Along with planning for this year, we as student government are also looking towards the future. March 22nd and 23rd, our ASB team will be heading over to Louis Pasteur and Andrew Carnegie Middle Schools to speak to all the 8th graders about joining our RAM family this fall. We expect to present a good amount of information regarding CASA, our student government, and our community. We believe that this will spark ideas and feelings for young students on where they would like to attend high school and where they would like to grow for the next 4 years.
Aside from student government, we have other programs on campus that can truly create great opportunities for our RAMs. CASA's AVID program had all 35 AVID seniors accepted into multiple prestigious universities. In September, AVID upperclassmen embarked on a Central Coast College adventure where they toured 8 universities as a group. Again, at the end of March, AVID will be visiting Southern California to tour another 10 schools on top of those 8. These field trips create amazing opportunities for each student participant and also gives a full experience of a day in college. AVID director Chris Horner does a very good job of creating opportunities like these for our students and their futures. CASA SCORE program received Distinguished Academy recognition from the state for their excellent program. SCORE has 40+ seniors placed in externships at medical offices all over Sacramento. Seniors placed in externships at medical offices are getting amazing experience in real life situations to prepare them for a career and in the medical field. Casa Roble is also extremely proud of our ROTC program and its many accomplishments. One in particular we'd like to share with you tonight is about William Kersey. For being accepted into West Point University. William Kersey has participated in the ROTC program since his freshman year and now leads the class his senior year as Corps Commander. In regards to our ag program at CASA, we are happy to announce that more baby goats have been born. Also, our FFA program at CASA hosted their yearly FFA Spirit Week that was a success, specifically due to an adorable petting zoo that our student body loved. Casa Roble's agriculture program is very proud to state that 2 members of this program will be receiving their FFA state degrees, recognizing them for their notable success within the program. In addition, FFA will participate in the state conference on March 26th to the 29th, where 10 members of FFA will represent Casa Roble. Along with a brand new school year following distance learning, Casa Roble was very fortunate to finally have full capability to utilize our new student union facility. May 18th, we will be having an opportunity to take full advantage of this new facility with an open house for our community. This event will be a completely open welcome back for our students and their families. Each of our programs will have booths set up to give out information about their class, as well as activities for students to participate in. This Friday, we'll be hosting our Renaissance ceremony in the stadium. From last term, we had 180 students qualify for Renaissance. We are also very happy to state that over 600 students at CASA, which is over half of our school population, qualified for the honor roll last term. We thank you so much for having us today in this meeting. We appreciate the opportunity to provide you with the information about Casa Roble, and we hope you have a great day and go Rams.
Thank you very much. Comments and questions from the board? Yes.
Thank you for the thorough report. First, I'm just really excited to hear about the open house. I know we've done a lot of tremendous facility work, and a lot of it has not been able to make full use of quite yet. So I love the idea of the open house. Looking forward to paying a visit there. I've noted it down on May 18th, and we'll be sure to follow up on additional information. Also, I loved hearing the update on the SCORE Academy. That's tremendous, tremendous growth, and just love hearing about students being out in, out in the community, getting real life and real job experience in a field that is just so critical. So really enjoyed hearing about that. And then I'm going to follow up to see who said that you couldn't bring baby goats, because I'm a little bit upset about that. But I will instead go out and pay a visit to the baby goats. But congratulations on the recent additions. Thank you both very much for your attendance this evening and sharing all these wonderful updates.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Mr. Hernandez?
Just appreciate the report very much. And sounds again like Cassie, you guys are very busy, which is outstanding to hear. I just want to pay compliments to the young man who is going to West Point. I mean, it's not easy to get in West Point, and if you can pass our congratulations, we'd appreciate that very much.
100%.
We'll make sure to extend that. Thank you.
Please.
First, I want to share that I was repping your school this weekend for your pathway program. Myself and Ms. Viesquez were volunteering with Habitat for Humanity, and I wore your sweatshirt, and I got to talk about the program because people were asking what it was about, and I was proud to do so. So you were on my mind, so it was kind of interesting that you're presenting today. So I'm happy to report that to you. And I just really appreciate your update on the medical pathway program. Also an interesting fact, I recently interviewed the president and CEO of the Hospital Association, Carmela Coyle, to talk about workforce development issues. And as I'm sure you know, medical professions for the most part are high road jobs, jobs that provide family supporting wages and benefits, dependable scheduling, all the things that make a job a good job, right? So it's just wonderful that you have that program. I really appreciate the update. There's so much availability and there's such a need. Pre-pandemic, there was an issue with the workforce. And now I think the number she quoted was 20% of the workforce is gone, with a problem that was already a problem. So a lot of good jobs in there, and so glad that you guys have that program. And again, appreciate the update. And the first thing I wrote down when you start talking was, how are the baby animals? And so I was happy to hear about the goats, and I too will be visiting. If there's any real-time update list that we can be made aware when new baby animals are born in your ag program, I will be there immediately and I will help. Great update as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll definitely extend that invitation to you for 100%.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. One question, because it was new to me, because I remember Renaissance programs for a few years ago. You're doing the closing ceremony in the stadium?
Yes, we are. Due to COVID-19 and regulations, we're hosting that event on our stadium. Students will be sitting on the home side of our field.
So yeah, it's a Renaissance fair. We kind of have this award at our school. It is the Renaissance. And if you get a 3.5 GPA or higher, or above a 4.0 or a 4.0, you get recognized in the Renaissance category. And that's kind of just a Casa Roble thing. And we like to celebrate that. And like she said, we're going to do that in the stadium this year because of regulations and things like that. So
I don't remember it being in the stadium before. That's new?
yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay.
Indeed.
And thank you for recognizing all of the amazing career tech programs at CASA. It is truly impressive to see what's happening there. And I didn't realize the SCORE program was up to 40 now, and that's impressive, including my next door neighbors. Thank you very much for coming.
Yes, sir.
We would like to thank you for your reports and for being here tonight. Student voice is very important to us, and we appreciate you being here. You are welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting, but we realize that you have homework and busy lives. So if you need to attend to that, this is a good time to return to other things that you need to have attention. Thank you from both schools, both Mira Loma and Casa Roble Fundamental, for being here. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. We are now at items E2 through E5, and there are no reports from staff, board appointed and district committees, employee organizations, or other district organizations. We are at item E6 for a closed session expulsion reports, and there are no closed session actions to report. Now we move to item F. We are for visitor comments. Ms. Rye, do we have speaker cards for general visitor comments?
We do have several speaker cards, Dr. McKibben.
Okay. I would like to remind the public that comments are limited to 2 minutes. The clock on the screen counts down the time. Under the Ralph M. Brown Act, the board is not allowed to comment on items that are not on the agenda. So we are not ignoring your comments. We just can't respond to any individual comments. The superintendent can refer items to staff who can follow up with you. Ms. Rye, would you please facilitate the public comment?
Of course, our first visitor comment in person today is Marina Gable. Ms. Gable will be followed by Brenda Pandos.
Hi. Just want to make sure you don't forget about me. I'm back. We're serving you with an intent to file a claim against your surety bonds.
Just gives them to the clerk. Just give them to the clerk. For time.
It's sad it has come to this. You have given us no choice. We have asked for 2 years. If only you did not, if you did the right thing, not just hide behind lies. We all know the truth and we've shared it. All San Juan Unified parents, community, and kids, be sure to join our groups. Our Facebook groups, I'm going to list off, grab a pen. Sacramento School Districts United, San Juan Parents Chat, Sacramento County Rise Up, Sacramento Freedom Coalition, Stand Up Sacramento County. So let's never forget what we have been put through. Was it 2 weeks to stop the spread? Then Zoom hell. Then what the hell are you teaching my kids? Then open schools now. Now let them breathe. Let them smile. Mask options. Vax coercion. Clinics on campus. And the big one's coming. Forced vax for kids, for staff, for all of California. Again, people, you need to realize this board is in bed with Dr. Pan and Newsom. They want to do this to us and our children. Stop the legislation from becoming nightmares. Wake up. There's a lot of work to be.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Our,
Ms. Rye.
our next
The
speaker is Brenda Pandos.
Is this on? Hi. I'm also a signer on the notice of
Uh,
intent.
Will you identify yourself?
Oh, Brenda Pandos. I'm also a signer on the notice of intent to file a claim against your surety. I have 2 children who were former students, and what you've allowed to happen in your district is criminal. By agreeing to the ARPA federal funds, you've waived your 11th Amendment right of immunity, as the contract has that waiver. Between the ESSER and the GEAR funds, you've received over $180 million. And what do you need to do to get that? You need to universally mask. Now you're liable. Roseville Joint Union High School District is facing a federal civil rights violation lawsuit right now. And this notice that's in front of you has the same stuff: negligence, bullying, child endangerment, discrimination, segregation, harassment, and humiliation. And mandating a medical device and quarantining healthy students, you have to have a medical license to do that. According to California Business Professional Code 2052, it makes it a crime to engage in unauthorized practice of medicine without a valid license. And that's exactly what you and your staff are responsible for every day. Prosecutors can charge this offense as a misdemeanor or a felony, and a conviction crime carries up to 3 years in jail. And engaging in a conspiracy or aiding and abetting someone to do so, any of those things is also a crime. So you need to wake up. The time is now, and we are holding you accountable. Thank you.
Right.
We have two remaining commenters and they have joined us via Zoom, Dr. McKibben. So our first commenter via Zoom for this item is Patricia Hughes. And Patricia, please unmute yourself when you're ready and go ahead and share your public comment.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello? Okay, I hope everyone can hear me. Okay,
Whenever you're ready, Patricia, can you,
Oh.
are you there?
yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
You may need to take yourself off mute.
Patricia, it looks like you are off of mute. Please go ahead and begin when you're ready.
Okay, I just hope you guys can hear me. Okay, I'm going to begin. Hello, my name is Patricia and I have worked at a
And
local
if you give us just a
preschool.
moment, Patricia, we're going to see if we could fix this issue.
Okay.
Patricia, if you could go ahead and try again one more time.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Hello? Hello?
In the room.
My microphone is unmuted, so I don't know exactly what's going on.
Please, Patricia, we ask for your patience. We can hear you on the live stream, but not in the room. Right now.
Sorry, I couldn't really understand what you guys just now said. It was super mumbled. I am here and I can see the time clock, but I don't know if you guys can hear me. Should I be starting? Okay.
All right, Patricia, we're going to try this one more time. Can you please go ahead and begin?
Okay. Hello, my name is Patricia and I have worked at a local preschool for almost 7 years now. My top priority that I wanted to address is the safety and well-being of our children in this school district. The number one priority for you board members is to keep our children safe, but according to the past few years into this pandemic, this has not been your top priority. According to the CDC and the science that has been accumulated. Can you still hear me?
Ms. Wright, I think we probably, if we're unable to resolve this, ask her if she'd be willing to follow at the end of the meeting, and maybe we'll be able to do the visitor comment at that point in time. Otherwise, she can always email those comments directly to myself and the board as well.
Sounds good. And Lieutenant Kern, should we try our next commenter on Zoom or go ahead and move?
Yep, to try
Okay.
it. And if there's, I'm not sure that'll work considering.
Okay, I'm hearing,
All right,
like, for
Patricia, we will
example,
follow up with you. We're going to
Okay.
try our next public commenter, Justin Hughes. Justin, when you are ready, please begin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're having the same issue, Justin. We're not able to hear you here in the boardroom. So we will try to resolve this issue. And if you hang on, we do have public
Yes.
comment at the
Okay.
end of our board meeting.
There-
And then you could also submit your public comment via email.
Okay.
We are ready to move on from public comment.
And the other three. for later items. Okay. Thank you very much. We have an additional time for visitor comment at the end, and we will try to catch up with those folks and get them then. We'll now move on to our next item, which, and because that was the end of the general visitor comments. The next item is the consent calendar. We are at item G. Do any board members wish to remove any items from the consent calendar? It appears that there are not. Is there a motion to approve items G1 through G5? Mr. Hernandez was moved,
Second.
and Ms. Viesca seconded. It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That was unanimous. We now move to the business items. We are at item I1, socio-emotional and mental wellness supports. Dr. Calvin.
Peter, can you pull up the presentation?
I'll go ahead and get started while they're working on that. Good evening, President McKibben, members of the board, Superintendent Kern, and Ms. Cunningham. When social emotional learning skills are intentionally taught, practiced, and reinforced in schools, students experience better behavioral, social, and academic outcomes. The departments within Ed Services have worked collaboratively to provide a centrally based program that reinforces these skills. We are working towards a clearly articulated framework that will build upon and wrap around those services that are established at the site level. We are also mindful of the fact that stress is a natural and inevitable given the current situation that all schools have found themselves in, and we have consequently increased both services and support staff as much as possible in an effort to put more emphasis on resources that can help safeguard the wellness and mental health of students, fellow educators, and other caregivers. Tonight, the directors of MTSS, Student Support Services, Special Education, and Student Learning Assistance will share information regarding the curriculum, assessments, additional staff, and activities established to ensure the well-being of both students and adults on our campuses. We will begin with Ms. Chris Moran, the director of MTSS, that's Multi-Tiered System of Supports, forgive the acronym, who will discuss the role of support center staff, the tools they use to help identify students at risk, and the work of the team.
Good evening. In addition to our site-based counselors and social workers, the Ed Services Department has student support centers that provide an additional layer of intervention and support for our sites and students. As we returned to full-time in-person learning at the beginning of this year, the Student Support Center team focused on responding to the site and student needs. Much of the work of our counselors and social workers early on was on supporting students and families who are struggling with the return, as well as supporting whole classes with social emotional learning lessons upon teacher request. We have since transitioned to more group interventions and using data to get our social skills groups up and running. In addition, our team has been providing behavior support for students. We have written behavior support plans for individual students, and our social emotional support technicians have been assisting with the implementation of those plans. This chart just shows all of the various types of contacts with students and families and/or supports provided. As you can see, so far this year, quite a bit of our time has been spent providing class lessons for social emotional learning. In addition, we have been observing in classrooms and collaborating with teachers and other staff to determine how to best meet the needs of students. This slide just shows the disaggregation of the data for the students that we served. If you look at the data regarding our targeted groups, you'll see that overall we served them at a higher percentage than the actual district percentage. One of the tools we're using this year is a universal screener called SABRS. SABRS stands for Social, Academic, Emotional Behavior Risk Screener. It is a 19-question survey completed for the first time by the teacher after 6 weeks into the school year. The data is used to identify students at risk in either social, academic, or emotional behavior. Another component available for use is MySabers, which is a student-based scale that has students in 2nd grade and up, and they can complete that on themselves. Again, this is used to identify students who are at risk or students who need additional support. Our implementation process has been to administer the screening, meet with site teams to review and analyze the data, plan for necessary supports, implement those supports, and then administer another screening. Ideally, SABRS is administered 3 times a year, and the cycle is completed with the school site each time. We have completed our fall and winter screening windows so far this year. This slide shows the data thus far with our SABRS implementation. It is optional participation, and of the 25 sites that participated, 17 completed both SABRS and MySabers. The remaining sites completed one or the other. The graphs show the overall results for the administration of each screener during the screening window. The data for fall and winter is shown, but it's important to understand that the data sets for each administration are different. Only 6 schools completed both fall and winter, and we had 5 schools complete only the winter screening. So we aren't really able to compare the overall data sets for the district, but we can help schools compare their own data when they take it the second time. The power of utilizing SABRS as a universal screener is in the review of the data with the school site teams after each screening window. When reviewing the data with each site, we talk about their individual percentages and next steps. Students who are identified at high risk by either screener are provided with supports that match the areas that they are identified to be at risk in. We look deeper into this data for students identified at some risk and develop plans with the sites to ensure that they are addressing those needs as well. Supports can look different depending on the individual site or classroom data. For example, if a classroom is identified with over 20% of their students at risk, we look to provide support to the class in addition to individual students who are at high risk. Again, this is a cycle of improvement, so the screener will be given again in the spring, and we will use the data to determine if the supports and interventions put into place made a positive impact or not. And if not, we will gather more data and revise the site plans. An additional layer implemented this year to our Student Support Center team as a result of receiving ELO and ESSER funds has been the addition of a position, Coordinator of Trauma-Informed Schools. This position takes a trauma-informed care approach based on knowledge of the impact of trauma, aimed at ensuring environments and services are welcoming and engaging for students, families, and staff. Trauma-informed school practices realizes the widespread impact of trauma and understands potential paths for recovery, recognizes the signs and symptoms of trauma in students, families, staff, and others involved with the system. Effective preparation is essential for achieving true and lasting systems change related to trauma sensitivity. Preparing to successfully adopt a trauma-sensitive approach, school or district-wide, involves educating fellow leaders, staff, families, and community partners to ensure a common understanding and rationale for change, assessing readiness for change, and establishing the structures for supporting, monitoring, and sustaining new practices. And this slide shows the work this year that our coordinator has done. She has spent time supporting 7 elementary sites, providing support for 9 administrators, coaching for over 15 staff members, professional development for 6 sites, with more PDs scheduled, professional development opportunities scheduled for the spring, provided direct support to over 45 students and parents, and office and classroom support on as-needed basis. This position is new to our system, and we are in the initial implementation phase. As a result, we will continue studying the impact and identifying opportunities for growth and change. And now I'd like to introduce Dominic Cavello, Director of Student Support Services.
Thank you, Chris, and good evening. This year, professional development opportunities in district social, emotional, and behavioral frameworks have continued. To provide for flexibility, restorative practices trainings are currently offered through both online and in-person formats. A partnership with the International Institute for Restorative Practices allows staff to attend a 2-day Restorative Practices for Educators series designed for administrative, certificated, and classified staff. The intensive online training focuses on relationship building, facilitating positive learning environments, and conflict resolution. The training cohort thus far has included well over 30 staff for the first half of the year, and these online sessions will continue to be offered to staff through the end of the school year and into summer. In-person trainings from our district restorative practices training team have included full site trainings at Star King and Encina, as well as restorative practices for parents and families that were designed as a 3-part series with over 45 parents in attendance. In addition, positive behavioral interventions and supports, PBIS, professional development has resumed. These trainings geared toward school site teams are focused on Tier 1 and Tier 2 school-wide and targeted behavioral interventions for students. The work is led by district PBIS leadership staff and our partnership with the Placer County Office of Education, who's the regional leader in Northern California. This year, we have added 13 additional San Juan schools who have electively joined a 4-day PBIS training series. With the recognition that some students will continue to demonstrate a need for school-based mental health services at the Tier 3 intensive level, Student Support Services and the MTSS departments collaborated in the creation of a new online referral system for school sites. The online tool allows respective staff to make referrals for students who are most in need of services, especially those who may be in crisis. Once a referral is completed, the information is triaged by our White House Counseling Center and MTSS staff to assign to the appropriate district mental health professionals to begin follow-up with the student, school, and/or family. Through the first 4 months of the school year, over 100 Tier 3 referrals were made district-wide for school-based mental health. As seen here, the referrals generated have largely been attributed to increased student sadness, depression, anxiety, anger, and self-harming behaviors, accompanied by school-related issues such as poor attendance, defiance, aggression, disrespect, and work refusal. Referrals through the new system are screened and evaluated for appropriate school-based mental health services and are either provided directly at the school site or later in the day at White House Counseling Center by licensed staff. This is in addition to over 250 students and adults who have accessed mental health supports from outside providers through our San Juan Care Solace referral program. The demand for school-based mental health has certainly increased, and our response has required a collective and collaborative effort to support our students in need. White House Counseling Center has entered into a new contract with the county to bill directly for their services and are currently providing both in-person and teletherapy by request. This has been assisted with additional staffing for White House out of ELO and ESSER funds, and the center is currently staffed with 1 program specialist, a full-time mental health therapist, a full-time mental health worker, 4 part-time mental health interns, as well as 3 mental health therapists who support from the student support centers. Since entering into the new contract, well over 30,000 counseling minutes have been provided to students, and the district has been reimbursed over $60,000 for these services. School-based mental health services have also expanded this year with our collaboration with the Sacramento County Office of Education, who is now providing 3 full-time mental health therapists at Howe Avenue Elementary, Katherine Johnson Middle School, and Encina High School as part of SCOE's school-based mental health initiative. In addition, the district's Signs of Suicide training team have also led trainings for both school site staff and parents, with a plan to expand and create trained high school student mentors in the SOS program for the 22-23 school year. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Vanessa Adelson, Director of Special Education, to share more of our collective work.
Thank you. Good evening. In addition to the mental health team that Dominic just shared, the special education has 11 mental health therapists working with students to support transitioning back into the building, assessing their individual needs, and updating their IEPs. Additional supports to school sites include crisis intervention, supporting classrooms, collaborating with our MTSS and school site staff, and working with teams at schools around mental health supports. Our special education department has been able to increase school psychologists by 2 FTE through our Learning Recovery Grant to increase opportunity to support school sites. The school psychologist team, in addition to supporting students with IEPs and psychoeducational assessments, working collaboratively with school site intervention teams and MTSS. Additional supports to school sites this year include personal and group counseling, family support, professional development for school sites, behavior supports for special education and general education students, creating academic and behavioral support plans. I will be presenting on behalf of Omar this evening, so feeling connected, feeling safe, and knowing that adults on campus support, care, and advocate for you is a foundation for student mental wellness and connectedness at a school site. We know that adults that connect with kids can be anyone from the teacher to the custodian to the principal, and we know the connection can be made at any time in the school day. For many of our students, our community partners have provided them with opportunities to build relationships with adults and peers, realize their own abilities, cope with the normal stresses of life, and work productively and fruitfully. Because of this, they learn to recognize their own value while also feeling connected and seen. Our community partners are community organizations that support students and cultivate all that I just mentioned. There are currently 11 of our high schools and middle schools through mentoring programs and instilling confidence. They work with students on embracing academics, developing student voice, and teaching them that their voice and identities matter. This is a powerful message when students who haven't heard it start to hear it regularly, they believe it. And when they are given opportunities to show that they believe it, they do so in positive ways. Our partners in this work are UCAN, the United College Action Network, and EAOP, Early Academic Outreach Program, which are at our 6 high schools. Their practitioners do all that I just shared, in addition provide leadership training and assistance to students who want to go to a 4-year college. They currently serve 185 students. Project Optimism is a mentorship program in 8 of our elementary schools, and in their focus is to provide mentoring, accessibility to positive role models, strengthening leadership skills, and focusing on academic progress. Improve Your Tomorrow is in 7 high schools and has the same foundation of supports for students. In addition, they provide weekly tutoring, monthly skill institutes, summer workshops, college preparation activities, college readiness advice, application coaching, and university visits. Mentors meet monthly in small groups and individually to review grades, attendance, address personal issues, build confidence, and teach students how to appropriately advocate for themselves. The Sacramento Area Youth Speak supports students in our district throughout an artistic lens as they trained poet mentors work hand in hand with teachers to encourage, educate, and empower students. SES has been part of our summer program and have expanded role at some of our sites. An important note to all of this in these programs and others that will be starting soon have benefited from the ESSER, Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, and ELO funding, both of which allows us to expand our outreach and better meet the needs of more students. Similar to the community partners, our Students' Identity Equity Clubs provide safe and comfortable spaces for students to speak on issues that impact them. The advisors for these clubs are providing training through YDN, the Youth Development Network, which specifically supports their efforts to raise student voice and instill confidence that carries throughout high school experiences. We currently have over 50 identity clubs with more than 500 participating students. Some of our schools also have led equity clubs, Asian Pacific Islander clubs, and clubs that support our Jewish students as well. These clubs create spaces and community that in turn create a sense of wellness and connectedness at the school site and let students know that their advisors are also advocates and allies. An effective tool in an equity toolbox is a listening circle. Extensive training in this area has been offered and engaged by educators in the district. As a result, many of our students are provided with opportunities to speak and listen to each other, cultivate empathy, and gain a shared understanding in an atmosphere of safety, decorum, and equality. This is the support that is used at many schools and in many classrooms to start the day, and it is an important part of preventative and asset-based model of support for students. This tool that supports connection to the school, to each other, and again provides students with a platform to share voice, feel valued, and to be contributors to something larger to them themselves. I'll conclude with that and introduce Gwen Dillinger, Director of Office of Student Learning Assistance, who will speak about our SEL work.
Thank you, Vanessa. Good evening, board. In addition to the social emotional support that our English learners receive through the programs my colleagues described, our English learners have the opportunity to participate in programs specific to welcoming and engaging them into the San Juan community. To this end, we utilize specialized staff, our cultural brokers team of school community resource assistants, refugee specialists, and a variety of other staff to provide individualized assistance in appropriate languages to our new families. We also join with several community partners with demonstrated expertise in supporting refugee and immigrant families. For example, we partner with World Relief, International Rescue Committee, resettlement agencies, and Epic Wellness. And I have a slide. Sorry. Our cultural brokers spend their time welcoming families by providing welcoming kits, primary language videos, and one-on-one support for locating resources around basic needs, academic assistance, and social emotional wellness. They partner with community partners to offer groups, mentoring, parent workshops, outreach, home visits, professional learning for site staff, student listening circles, Google Hangouts, student leadership, while also coordinating special programs like tutoring and sports programs. This year, we were able to expand our cultural broker team with one-time funds through the Expanded Learning Opportunities Grant. Finally, we were able to bring an intramural soccer program to 8 elementary sites. The soccer programs were strategically implemented at sites with high percentages of students identified as newcomers and refugees. Although these programs were placed at sites with many English learners, all students at the schools were encouraged to participate. We structured the programs this way in response to feedback gathered during listening circles, input from cultural brokers, and from school staff. We learned that it is important to build community among all student groups, with soccer being an ideal way to create positive relationships. The purpose of the program was to establish friendships, engage families with schools, and to combat sadness and anxiety through physical play, and to simply have fun. From the smiles we saw and the feedback we received, it was a huge success. We have a short video to share that will provide you with a snapshot of the program.
When Thursdays and Fridays are coming, so they're really happy and just saying that today we have soccer at school.
For the last 2 months, nearly 800 students at San Juan Unified have been gearing up for a unique type of soccer program. The San Juan Soccer Club, led by the Newcomer Support Team under the Office of Student Learning Assistance, aims at building teamwork, leadership, in creating bonds between our refugee students and our diverse student population through the universal language of soccer.
We bring all the kids together. We make teams for them to do team building, sportsmanship, and so they can know how to work with each other.
Each site program organizer breaks up the week in 2 parts. The first is where they play soccer, and then a tutoring session to show students how they can succeed together on and off the field.
A student that she was done with her homework during the week, and she offered me to help other students help with their homework, you know, with the English section, with the writing parts.
And in the math, help each other. Do we have to test when we have test? Yes.
Everybody is trying to speak in English and communicate in English, which is really important for immigrant students that they are coming. So we are happy to have native English speakers as well in the program, that they are helping them to communicate well.
As the students continue to play for something bigger, the friendships and community they make here will be something they can keep for a lifetime.
It helped me with my English and I learned soccer a lot.
My friends, I made in soccer like 2 or 3 friends.
Yeah, and that's my friend. Yeah, his name is Naveed. Hi. This one is a good program. Thanks for all the coach.
This concludes our presentation, and we're opening for questions.
Yes. Let's see. I'm sorry. I was watching the video. Not public comment first? Okay. Okay. Do any board members have any questions or comments? I'm sorry. Ms. Rye, do we have any public comment?
We do not for this agenda
Okay,
item.
all right. Okay, Ms. Fiascos.
Thank you, Dr. McKibben, and thank you to the team as well. We definitely covered a lot of ground and definitely meeting a very wide spectrum of needs. Everything from just kind of immediate connectiveness to the school to much more serious challenges that our students are facing. I have some questions just around, in particular, I appreciate Dominic covering the kind of new mental health referral system, and I'm just curious if you could expand a little bit more on the more recent changes to the contract with White House Counseling. I know for a while there we were in some kind of shaky territory in terms of continuing services. So can you speak a little bit to any kind of new service length of the arrangement that we have with them, and as well any unmet needs that we might be seeing right now?
Sure. So for a short time there, White House, we were unsure about their future and what their future would hold. We entered into a conversation with the county behavioral health, and what is now in place essentially is for the staffing that the district puts into White House Counseling Center and the supports that are in place. For any student who is served through White House Counseling Center, staff is currently billing directly through Medi-Cal. The services are being reimbursed at about 50% on the dollar. So it's certainly contingent on the number of students who are referred to White House Counseling and the services they then provide and bill for. In terms of gaps that are currently existing, first, it's not a gap, but the contract is relatively new, so it's slightly different than what the old contract was. So there's been a little bit of a learning curve there for White House Counseling staff to get up to speed. And then beyond that, certainly just in the area of staffing for the number of mental health therapists or mental health workers or even the interns. It's very competitive to find those folks. And I know the administrator over White House is constantly seeking to staff the center there to be able to provide the services that are needed. That certainly helped to have the support from student support centers with the mental health therapists there and sort of that collaborative approach that we've been able to meet. Pretty much every referral that's come in, it's now upwards of around 150 for the school year. We've been able to place a mental health therapist or mental health worker to support that student for a short term or sometimes for ongoing treatment.
Great, thank you. And look forward to kind of seeing how that continues to evolve in terms of our new relationship with them. But I just kind of, my attention focused on sort of the more acute ends of the needs and making sure that that capacity was there. The workforce challenges that you highlighted are certainly a challenge in a lot of industries, but in particular in mental and behavioral health. We're seeing that across the board and up and down the state. So I appreciate you providing that additional context. Can you talk a little bit about how it interacts, does or does not interact with the service Care Solace? I feel like I always interchange them, but is it just completely separate? Because I know that's more family based. As like, can you talk a bit about the referral patterns for both and if they're distinct?
Yeah, and Chris, if you want to add anything to this too. So they're not completely separate. What they are, though, are the online referral that we developed this year essentially is for our district staff, for families or for students who are looking for school-based mental health supports, oftentimes being delivered right at our school site during different parts of the day or after school. Their first sort of line of referral would be through that internal system to White House or to our MTSS system of supports. If there are families, if there are students, families, adults, teachers, staff who are seeking supports not through White House or not through the district, Care Solace is oftentimes the method in which that referral goes to. And sometimes it's both. So sometimes it comes internally through to White House or to our MTSS support staff. And it may, the need may rise to something that cannot be handled through traditional school-based outpatient supports. And at that point, our White House staff or our MTSS staff will then link into Care Solace for maybe a even more intensive referral for Care Solace. So they complement each other, I think is the best way to say it. One providing internal supports from our own district staff, the other for families who are more comfortable seeking something from the outside and just don't know where to go. So definitely complementary.
Thank you. And my last comment was just, it seems like the Medi-Cal side of this is working out, which I know has not historically been the case. So at least for now, hopefully nothing interrupts that. But I acknowledge how complicated these systems are. So excited to see what looks like progress in that area and what has been a almost decade-long battle on that end. So thank you very much for the presentation. That's all of my comments and questions at this time.
You're welcome.
Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you for the report. I just want to comment on the soccer program. I think that's genius to get the students out there playing together. And soccer is a universal language, and I just commend you for that. I think that's outstanding. Thank you so much.
Mr. Creason.
Thank you for the report. Just a couple of questions and thoughts. First, I just wanted to say the SABRS program, I'm so happy to see that there's that self-help component. So there's the identification component, and I get that, but also that self-help, which I know everyone in this room, or most of the people in this room have heard me say before. It's just so important that a young person can seek help if they want it, and they don't have to wait to be identified. So that's wonderful. Also really happy that we are continuing to implement the Signs of Suicide program. I took a similar training. I can't remember the name of it now, but I took a similar training. It was incredibly enlightening. Things that you think you know to support somebody often aren't quite right. You know, the language that you use, or what do you do when someone is having suicidal ideation. As I've shared with many in this room, I have 2 siblings that died by suicide. It's a real thing. As many of you know, I have a child attending a district school, and I can't tell you how, I mean, he has several friends that have been to treatment for ideation in the last 2 years. And it's wonderful that we're providing that training to kids so they can support each other, especially with the staffing support that exists. If they can circle around each other, provide support, and get them to help point them in the right direction to that professional help when they start seeing these things going wrong, we really can it will save lives. So I'm just happy to hear about that. I wanted to ask a question. Something struck me on slide 16. We don't necessarily have to bring it back up, but let me pull it back up. I was wondering, well, first I'll start with a question. There's a quote at the top, and I'm wondering where that quote came from. Participation in mentoring programs has been associated with improving social skills, decreased antisocial behaviors, and improved academic behaviors.
I don't know the source, but I can get that for you.
Okay, there's just one word in there that kind of got me, and it's the word antisocial. And I don't know who said this, so I don't want to come off too critical, but I'm hoping that we can stay away from that language just because that is a clinical diagnosis that's really, really heavy. And I know that a lot of us say, oh, we're just feeling antisocial today. We need it to mean something very, very different. But I saw it and I had to point it out. I couldn't not. So just wanted to say that. And then also, and this is speaking more to, again, to the staff challenges for mental health professionals, not only within our district, but nationwide. Peer support models, are really gaining a whole lot of traction all over the place, not only on the suicide side of the house, but, just general mental health support. And there's mental health first aid and other programming. So I'm hoping we continue. I know we're doing this, and I hope we can continue to get our community trained up in what kind of peer support we could provide each other, not only on the student side, but also on the staff side, because we all have our own challenges. So thank you for all the great work. I know it's a heavy lift always, but especially in the last couple of years. So you're greatly appreciated.
First, having heard the presentations over the years, I want to congratulate you on how much more continuity there seems to be, how much more systematized and so forth. And I can remember a few years ago that it almost seemed like in some cases Tier 1 and Tier 2 and Tier 3 were kind of seen as different populations and so forth, and in a way they are. But it seems to me like the continuity is there. The other thing that I'm struck by is that thinking over the years that how much more we are involving external agencies, how much more we're, if you will, talking to each other and using the different kinds of supports, both inside and outside. And again, I'm so happy to see us back with the White House because they provide a level of support that frankly most of us aren't trained to do, and we appreciate that very much. I want to ask about the soccer program. Do I recall this is not the first year for the soccer program, but did it start last year or the year before that?
From my understanding, it started last year.
Okay.
It was more focused on just refugee students, and this year we wanted to incorporate as many groups.
And that makes sense. And the tutorial, bringing the tutorial part to it too makes a great deal of sense. How many youngsters were involved in this? I think you said, and I just didn't get it down. 800.
And we provided them with jerseys, shorts, and cleats.
Okay. And then finally, I want to ask about the listening circles. And having heard the listening circles being talked about over time, did I hear it also talked about that there are some places in schools where listening circles are part of the regular curriculum? Did I hear that piece? Said in some cases starting classes with them, or did I just read that into my head?
So listening circles and then restorative circles or opening circles are kind of two different things. A listening circle is kind of for, obviously gathering input, student voice. I think the listening circles mentioned here in the presentation more in line with that. But classrooms, as part of their restorative practices training, are introduced to the concept of opening sessions, opening classes with an opening circle on a topic to elicit student voice and to build community within the classroom. So similar, but also slightly different.
And in terms of listening circles, what is there any kind of consistent thing that prompts a listening circle being formed, or in terms of when there's issues and needs and so forth? What causes this to be initiated?
So we perform listening circles for a variety of reasons. We facilitate them for a variety of reasons. There are times when there is an incident where we will have a circle. We want to listen to the kids. We want to have a restorative circle to see what their needs are, what their concerns are, what their feelings are, and how we can best support them as a result of that event.
Okay, thank you. I mean, it's much more than it used to be, is what I'm hearing, and there are needs that are being met that is more as part of the curriculum, if you will, as well as dealing with various mental health needs, and I think that makes a great deal of sense. Okay, if there are no other questions, thank you very much for this very informative report.
Dr. McKibben, before we go to the next item, we have a workaround for the two public comments from Patricia Hughes and Justin Hughes, so we want to go back to that at this point in time. So Raj, will you kind of head that up for us, please?
Testing my speaker. There we go. Thank you, Patricia and Justin, for hanging on the line. I'm going to go ahead and hold my microphone up to my computer. So Patricia, you're up first. If you could go ahead and unmute.
Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me this time. Okay. There might be a little bit of backfeed. Hopefully that won't interrupt you guys from being able to hear me. Okay, I'll begin. Hello, my name is Patricia, and I have worked at a local preschool for almost 7 years now. My top priority that I want to address is the safety and well-being of our children in this school district. The number one priority for you board members is to keep our children safe, but according to the past few years into this pandemic, this has not been your top priority. According to the CDC and the science that has been accumulated over the last few years with COVID, children ages 0 to 17 years of age have a 99.997% survival rate. If you guys would follow the science, then that means that our children are not at risk from COVID and therefore should not be forced to wear a mask, which according to the research does nothing and does more harm than good, including but not limited to causing our children speech delays, lack of confidence and self-esteem, anxiety, and severe depression. This has led to suicide rates going up, as stated by the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, to the point where our children are in a national emergency in children's mental health. We are pro-vaccine, but we are anti-mandate. Therefore, I urge you to let us make our choices of sending our children to school to wear a mask, as well as giving us the choice on whether or not we want to give our children an experimental drug. I encourage you today to teach our educators to support mask choice in school, since there have been reports of teachers bullying, coercing, making students feel bad, as well as isolating children away from their classroom for unmasking, which is in violation of California Ed Code 201, Civil Code 51 and 52, which states that children have the right to an in-person education without bullying, harassment, discrimination, and intimidation. Also, please provide education on the harms of masks and the social, emotional toll it has created upon our children. Lastly, please do not force parents to have to choose on whether they should give their child an experimental drug in order to attend school. I urge you now to call up your legislators and oppose SB 871, which will mandate the COVID vaccine in order for our children to attend school. Thank you and God bless. Yeah, we will now hear from Justin Hughes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, Justin Hughes here. Yes, I don't have long, so I'll be brief. Since COVID-19 hit our shores, a total of 11.4 million cases of COVID have been confirmed for 0 to 17-year-olds, with 865 total deaths. That is a survival rate of almost exactly 99.99%. This is a conservative estimate on cases, as nearly every antibody study completed and approved by the CDC has confirmed that the actual cases is nearly double the confirmed cases, giving us a survival rate of 99.995% for 0 to 17. Research says these children has determined that more than 90% of them were suffering from significant pre-existing conditions when they contracted COVID. Therefore, if a child 0 to 17 is at least moderately healthy, the research gives us a survival rate of 99.999%, and that is only if they contract COVID, which is a lower number. So is the argument that the children may spread it to the elderly? Per the CDC, the survival rate for all age groups that are vaccinated is approximately 99.99%. I challenge everyone here to honestly say they didn't know someone that had anywhere from mild to severe side effects from the COVID vaccine. There are 0 long-term studies on this vaccine, but confirmed side effects. And the plan is to force children to take this when they are nearly 10 times more likely to die on the drives at school than actually contracting the disease? Are we going to be the first generation to sacrifice the health of the young for the sake of the elderly? The society that chooses that path is lost. We are pro-vaccine, but we are anti-mandate. Kids are not at risk from COVID, and neither are the vaccinated. Finally, remember
Dr. McKibben, your mic's not on. Just a quick. Will you turn your mic on, please?
It wasn't supposed to be turned off. We'll move to I2. Thank you very much. Ms. Dahlheber.
Good evening, President McKibben, board members, Superintendent Kern, and Ms. Cunningham. Okay. So I include our core commitments that serve as our guideposts for fiscal conversations and decisions. I'm not going to read them all to you, though. And today we're here to discuss our second interim budget report, which includes all of our updated fiscal information through January 31st. The following information will reflect changes since the board approved the first interim budget. Okay, so we'll start with our general fund unrestricted revenues. You can see our LCFF, which is our local control funding formula, our primary source of revenues, reflects a decrease of $286,345. This was due to a slight dip in our January numbers with the surge. We did see our attendance rate decrease. Our state revenues reflect a decrease of $261,584, and that was some minor adjustments to lottery and mandated cost reimbursement. And then our local revenues reflect an increase of $89,706, and that's a result of adjustments made as actuals are received in our donations accounts and some of our local revenues and small grants. Our restricted revenues, our federal revenue reflects a decrease of $1.08 million as a result of adjustments made in the ESSER 3 funds. Our state revenues reflect an increase of $6.1 million as a result of a grant from the Department of Health Services and an increase to the expanded Learning Opportunities Program. Our local revenue reflects a decrease of $155,000 as a result of adjustments made to various local programs. This is a summary of all of the revenues, and you can see that our largest source of revenues comes from our local control funding formula, the 64.61. And the local control funding formula is comprised of our state aid, our Education Protection Act funds, and our local property taxes. So our unrestricted expenditures, you can see that our unrestricted expenditures decreased in total by 1.3 million. Salary and benefits were decreased by 1.77, and that was due to those unfilled open positions that we make adjustments throughout the year. We do leave some of those funds budgeted in the event that we are able to fill those positions for the part of the remaining year. Our supplies and services also reflect a decrease, while our capital outlay and other outgo transfers increased for a net increase of $453,000. On our expenditure side, our restricted expenditures increased by $9 million. So salaries and benefits reflect an increase of $15 million as a result of the board-approved one-time bonus paid in recognition of the increased workloads, extra duties, and efforts made by staff this year. The remaining budget categories decreased by 5.99 as some planned expenditures have been moved out of the current year budget and plan to be expensed out of next fiscal year. So this is a summary of our general fund expenditures. As salaries and benefits make up 81.65 of total expenditures, but when you break that out between our unrestricted expenditures and our unrestricted salaries and benefits are 90.76 of all unrestricted funds. And then on the restricted side, that's the 70.69, and that's because some of those restricted funds are being used for some capital outlay programs. And so this is a review of the summary of our combined, both unrestricted and restricted. And so you can see that there's the change reflect a deficit of 8.1 in our current projections, and that increased slightly from the 7.8, and that's from the changes we just discussed. And so this is also a summary, and this one shows our supplemental funds that we receive through our local control funding formula broken out. These are our other funds, which include our ASB, our charter school, our special education, SELPA funds, adult ed, child development, cafeteria, deferred maintenance, which we consider some of our special revenue funds. We also have our capital projects, which include the building funds, capital facilities, county school facilities, and then we have our self-insurance fund. The biggest change you're going to see reflected in our other funds related to our bond project and some of the expenditures that we've had adjustments for. So these are our planning factors that we use in our multi-year projection, or our MYP. You'll see most of these were included in the governor's proposed budget, or they come from Department of Finance, the Legislative Analyst's Office. We use a variety of resources for our projections. Since the governor's proposed budget has been released, LAO had revised their projected COLA to 6.17, but as was discussed earlier, we know we foresee that we're going to see an even bigger increase in COLA. Our projected PERS rates have both been revised as well. In the 2 out years, the rate for 22-23 is projected now to be 25.4, and 23-24 is projected to be 25.2. And so when we bring back adopted budget, we'll make those revisions in that MYP. So the current one you see will have these factors in it. So here's our MYP. And the multi-year projection, or MYP, reflects a decrease in revenues and expenditures as one-time revenues, and the related expenditures are projected to decrease in the 2 out years. The factors used for projections were shared on the previous slide and include the proposed increased COLAs included in the governor's January budget proposal for 22-23. And so when you see in 22-23, we project a deficit of 6.19. That includes expending some of those funds that have been received in prior years. Some of those one-time funds related to COVID and other programs. So we also prepared a second multi-year projection, and this is related to another item that was included in the governor's proposed budget. And so one of the items that was in there, but we don't know if it's going to make it into the final version, is an additional option for when calculating your local control funding formula revenues. And so in addition to using the greater of current year ADA or prior year ADA, there would be an additional option to use a 3-year rolling average. So you can see when we use the proposed 3-year rolling average, our revenues increase in 22-23 by $9.6 million and just over $10 million in 23-24. So currently we are submitting a positive certification to our county office. And this is just a summary of our next steps. So we just, we'll maintain our prudence in looking at our budget, reviewing expenditures, making sure we have the revenues for any increases, paying attention to what's happening in Sacramento with the governor's budget. We'll be all attending the May revise to see what's in that
and hopefully there'll be some good news related to an increase in the COLA. We do know that revenues are still coming in at a higher level than was projected in the governor's budget. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Dahlheber. There are no visitor comments, so we'll move directly to the board. Ms. Fiascas.
Thank you for the rapid rundown of a lot of information. I want to just applaud you for attempting to project out multiple different things in a world where there's so many variables that it can be hard to even do that. So I did appreciate the modified 3-year rolling average projections. That's helpful, and we'll see where all that lands. One thing I had a question on, there's a lot of talk, wearing my other hat, I follow budget negotiations pretty closely, and there's just a lot of talk about the potential impact about GAN limits and other items. I'm just wondering what, if anything, you've heard. Typically, local governments are not quite as impacted, but I'm just curious if there's any chatter amongst the education finance folks about what implications, if any, that might have.
I heard more several months ago than I've heard more recently. And so in the most recent conversations, we're not sure what's going to happen with that. We think they're looking for other ways to use those funds. So we're not necessarily expecting to see those come into Prop 98 or even one-time funds that are outside of Prop 98. But I remain hopeful because I'm just an optimistic person.
Oh, I appreciate that. It sounds like folks are going to try to get a little bit creative, but it's certainly something that we're watching very closely at all local government levels. So I'm sure we'll start to hear a little bit more in coming months. Thank you for the succinct presentation and update.
Just briefly to echo my colleagues' remarks, thank you for truncating that. That was a lot of information all at once. Nice, neat package, and just congratulations on another positive certification. I know it's a big job, especially with so many different streams coming in right now in planning. It's a whole lot. So just thank you for all your work on it.
It has been a heavy lift, and I failed to mention on that last slide to thank my fiscal staff that have worked so hard right now, especially with all these new resources coming in, and we expect to see a lot of new categoricals coming in this next budget cycle.
It's huge, and I do recognize how huge it is. So thank you so much.
Thank
you. Again, thank you for this very comprehensive report and so forth. Once again, the word positive is the most important word in this thing. How many years in a row have we been positive now?
10? Okay.
Is it 10? Yeah. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for that, and thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.
We move on to I3 now, the report related to COVID. Mr. Allen.
My understanding is that, is this an action item?
I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm sorry.
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to accept the 2021-2022 second interim report and the budget revision reflecting projected year budget totals.
It's been moved by Ms. Fiasca, seconded by Mr. Hernandez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? There are none. This vote was unanimous. Thank you very much, and I apologize. All right, now we move to I3. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Dr. McKibben, members of the board, Superintendent Kern. I will try and keep our report brief tonight. We have just a few updates for you. And of course, I do want to start by sharing where we stand in our community with our stats and our current health conditions. So as I've shared the last couple of updates, those case rates within Sacramento County continue to fall. And I'm pleased to share that this week we are at 10.4 cases over the 7-day average per 100,000 residents. So that puts us back to where we were in late November. So that is a much better place than where we had been. At our last board meeting, we were running about 38 cases per 100,000. And prior to that, we were well above 100, pushing 200 plus at the height of the Omicron variant. So we are very pleased to see that number continue to fall throughout our entire community. On the district dashboard, again, really good movement there. As of this evening, we had 52 students showing on that positive column and 23 staff positives showing on that positive column. And again, I do want to take the opportunity to remind everybody that when you look at that dashboard, those cases that are listed in that positive column are not necessarily cases that have actually been on campus. We record any case that's reported to us that impacts one of our students or our staff, because we are watching that case and managing that case to make sure that we're following the required quarantine periods. So that may have been somebody who was on campus, it may be somebody who wasn't on campus, but it's somebody connected to our schools that we care about and that we're watching. So that is the number that's reflected there. It's not necessarily, again, somebody who's been on campus. And finally, our testing program. Our number of tests that we're giving out continues to fall. So we've seen this time again as we continue to see the number of infections go down, the demand for testing goes down. So this last period between our last board meeting and this board meeting, we've done 4,320 tests, which is much, much less than we have been doing. We were doing well more than that in a single week previously. But out of that, we've only had 129 positives. So that puts us under a 3% positivity rate since our last board meeting. This last week, that positivity rate on our testing has fallen below 2%. So we continue to see improvements there with the number of folks who are actually testing positive on those tests as well. So, of course, the big announcement that we've all been talking about in the last week is the state's move from a requirement for face coverings to a strong recommendation for face coverings in schools. That goes into effect on March 12th, so midnight, March 11th, March 12th. That becomes effective. And as we have throughout the pandemic, San Juan Unified will follow the recommendations and requirements of state and local health officials. So on March 12th, we will move to that strong recommendation, excuse me, for all of our students and staff as well. And that does apply to students and staff, whether vaccinated or unvaccinated. It does make it an individual's choice whether they want to wear that face covering inside in our schools and in our programs. So that will be up to each individual on the 12th. It will remain a strong recommendation that individuals consider doing that. And we are working through an additional communication out to all of our families and to all of our staff this Thursday to remind folks of that and to remind folks that it is an individual choice, and anybody who chooses to wear a mask or chooses not to wear a mask should not be pressured or harassed for that choice. In other news, we did receive word from our our county officials yesterday. It was yesterday. Time is flying. We received information from our state, let me try that one more time. We received information from our county officials yesterday about changes to the quarantine guidance. So we're actually working through those right now, so I can't go over exactly how that will change our quarantine guidance, but it does ease up on some of the quarantines that are required. So we're working through that, and we hope to have that implemented by next Monday as well. And with that, I will pause and let us move to public comment and any questions.
Mr. Rai, I understand there are 3 public comments. Will you manage that, please? We'll manage it from up here.
Our first public comment is Deborah Woolley, and she will be followed by Michael Huang.
Can you hear me now? Honorable Board, I am returning to you after 25 years. My boys are 45 and 38. Graduated from Mesa Verde High. I wanted to tell you that I'm here. I could be traveling, retired, but I want to tell you that something dangerous is happening to our society. And I think that it has to do with mental illness. I'm very, very encouraged that you're interested in mental health. It is my humble opinion that mental illness is caused by believing a lie or many lies. I want to draw your attention to the law, Title 21, for emergency use authorizations. I emailed those to you about a week ago. I did not send them to you directly, but you were CC'd on a communication to SCOE. I wanted to let you know that the law says that if it's an emergency use authorization, it must MUST, be voluntary. Guidance is legal. Requirement is illegal. And when you put it in a school policy that guidance is required, you know what? That is misleading, coercion, and untruthful. Untruth and believing a lie causes mental health. I want to tell you that I went into 6 pharmacies in the last month. No pharmacist was able to verify in writing that the FDA shots are FDA approved. I asked them, please provide me written documentation. They showed up with the package insert that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Wang.
Followed by Regina Nelson.
I am Michael Juan, MD, and I practice medicine in Roseville. I've been asked by parents in your school district to share with you the truth and not the myth of COVID. In the past 2 years, I have treated thousands of COVID patients, thousands, with 100% success rate, and help also save more than 2,000 American jobs from unlawful COVID vaccine mandates. Sadly, like you have heard, we also treated hundreds and hundreds of children who suffer from the prolonged face mask use injuries. Just in the past week alone, we have seen over 100 kids in my office. 80% of the boys all suffer some type of speech impediment if they are younger than age 9. 100% of the kids experience breathing difficulties, headache, and anxiety as a result of face mask use in school. And all of them have natural immunity, and all fully recovered from COVID without a single issue. Mask requirement, as many have said, in California it's a guidance, not a law. Face masks and face shield used at school are not effective in blocking viral particle. Face covering used at school do not work to prevent viral transmission, and vaccine do not prevent or stop the spread of COVID-19, as we have learned after 2 long years. This is a pandemic of the untreated, and a pandemic of fear and government overreach. I'm really sober to hear all the psychological injuries suffered by kids in your district. As a physician, sitting here in 2 hours, I have felt the pulse, your symptoms, and the simple treatment. Lift the mask, don't require vaccine for kids. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Push it again so that it becomes green.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm Regina. I have kids in this district, and based off past actions, I have a lot of concerns about how San Juan will move forward with COVID regulations. Senator Pan is pushing a bill that would add the COVID vaccine to the list of shots required for attending school in person. I don't understand how a shot that has only FDA approval for over the age of 16 can be a requirement for school attendance for kids age 5 through 15. There's only emergency use auth for that age. If the FDA has not deemed it safe enough to grant approval for that age group, why would California schools mandate its use? Especially as we've seen in the last few months, vaccination does not prevent contraction or spread. The vaccines already on that list actually work. We'll know shortly if these laws get passed or not, but as the school board members who are responsible for the education opportunities for a large number of students in this district, you have a choice before you to do the right thing regardless of what that law is. There have been many unjust laws in our education system in the past, such as segregation, and yet this is no excuse for going along with them. When I looked up our district to see how many students attend, I saw a really sad statistic. 49% of the schools in our district are performing below average. Half of our schools are struggling. Putting all the focus on whether or not kids are masked and vaxxed is doing a huge disservice to them. The focus instead must be to provide open and equal education opportunities to all of our kids. COVID regulations have knocked failing students over the edge. They will not recover at this rate. I know many of them. Students that weren't struggling before are struggling now, and yet the district and school focus continues to be hostile to teachers and students who want to maintain bodily autonomy by choosing if they will mask or if they will vaccinate. So we're losing teachers, and our students pay the price. Please do the right thing by our students and do not turn any away or stifle their opportunity to learn by adhering to unjust COVID regulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now move to board comment. Ms. Vasquez. Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you. I appreciate the comments from our community and those that are here present today. I made some comments last week, and I, was hoping that we could get rid of the mandates as soon as possible. But as the governor stated, we will be releasing those mandates on the 11th. It's actually my birthday, so it's a great birthday present for me. But I got to tell you that over the weekend, I was at Disneyland with my grandchildren. And at Disneyland, you did not have to wear a mask. And to see kids, families enjoying themselves in a social environment, again, I was very happy to see. And oddly enough, there was a high school from Sacramento County, not one of our high schools, but one within our county, that their school took their seniors to grad night there. And I had the opportunity to see them socialize, and it brought me great comfort that this Friday we will be back to normal as best we can. And it's been a long 2 years, and I can't wait. And I know it's been hard for many people, and I just, my heart goes out to those children who, have not had a normal classroom because they had to wear masks for 2 years now. So I look forward to Friday, and I'm sure many of you do as well, and we'll move forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move now to I-4, Mr. Oropalo. Reduction in particular kinds of services for early childhood education. No, you're not on. Now it is.
How's that?
That's great.
Thank you. Good evening, President McKibben, members of the board, Superintendent Kern, Ms. Cunningham. I'm here tonight to bring forward for action Superintendent's recommendation to adopt resolution number 3099, reducing or discontinuing particular kinds of services, and the corresponding amount of certificated staff that will be reduced as a result. In addition, I'm asking you to adopt resolution 4000 that establishes criteria to apply a tie break in seniority for certificated staff affected by program reductions with the same date of hire. And I'm joined by Deanne Carlson. We can answer any questions you have about this. Again, this is an action item.
Okay. Ms. Rye, do we have any? We do not. Okay, we'll move then to board member questions and comments. Okay. Okay. The item has been moved. Is there a second? And we'll be taking these separately. Resolution, Ms. Creason, I assume you're moving resolution 4001, and then we'll do 4002 separately. Is there a second to 4000? Second by Mr. Hernandez. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? That is unanimous. Now we'll move to resolution 4002. Is there a motion? Thank you. All right, we'll start over again.
I actually have 6 resolutions in totality,
Yeah,
Dr.
and-
McKibben,
and
so
I- and I
it's
turned the
easy to
page-
get, it's easy to get them a little mixed up. So
I
we'll start
turned the
with
page
39
early.
3099.
We need a motion for adoption of resolution 3099. Is there a second? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? It is unanimous. Now we move to motion, resolution 4000. Is there a motion? Ms. Fiascas moves and seconds by Ms. Creason. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It is unanimous. Now we move to item I5 related to early childhood education.
Thank you, Dr. McKibben. I'm here to bring forward the recommendation to adopt Resolution 4001, reducing or discontinuing particular kinds of services and corresponding amount of certificated staff in the early childhood education program. In addition, I am bringing forward Resolution 4002 that establishes the criteria for tie-breaking and seniority for certificated staff affected by program reductions with the same date of hire. And again, Ms. Carlson and I can answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. There are no visitor comments. Are there any board questions or comments related to 4001 and 4002? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt Resolution 4001?
So moved.
Mr. Hernandez has moved it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Fiascas. All those in favor signify by saying aye to Resolution 4001.
Aye.
Those opposed? It's unanimous. Is there a motion for resolution number 4002 related to tiebreakers? All right, Ms. Creason moves it. Is there a second?
I second the item.
Second by Ms. Fiascas. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It is unanimous again. Mr. Oropalo.
Thank you, Dr. McKibben. With this item, I'm bringing forth the recommendation to adopt Resolution 4003, which again is reducing or discontinuing particular kinds of services in adult education, and 4004, which is establishing the criteria for tie breaks in, again, adult education. Again, Ms. Carlson or myself can answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, again, there are no visitor comments. Are there any board comments or questions? Item 4003 has been moved by Mr. Hernandez, second by Ms. Creason. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. That is unanimous also. And now 4004, thank you. Are there any board questions? Comments? Is there a motion for 4003? I'm sorry, 4004. I'll get this. Thank you. Mr. Hernandez has moved to adopt Resolution 4004. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Vasquez. All those in favor signify by saying aye on Resolution 4004. Those opposed? It is unanimous again. And again, I believe Mr. Opalo.
Thank you, Dr. McKibben. And lastly, I'm bringing forward for action, the superintendent's recommendation to adopt Resolution 4005, reducing or eliminating certain classified positions effective June 30th, 2022 due to lack of work and/or lack of funds. Again, I can answer any questions. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Carlson for all of her work in these particular items, and also members of cabinet as well as Superintendent Kern for spending an enormous amount of time and diligent review of these particular items.
Thank you. Do any board members have questions on resolution number 4005? It appears none. Is there a motion? So moved by Ms. Creason, seconded by Ms. Fiascas. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? It is unanimous again. Thank you very much for your work. And sorry, we kind of hustled through, but this is a lot of work to be done, and it's very important.
Thank you, Dr. McKibben. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, we move on to item I8 related to School Boards Association Delegate Assembly election. Every year, the California School Boards Association asks districts to elect representatives to the CSBA Delegate Assembly for their designated region. There are 2 vacancies in our subregion and 1 candidate on the ballot. Do any board members wish to nominate a write-in candidate for that second position? Is there a motion to cast a vote for the 1 candidate on the ballot, Christopher Clark, for CSBA Delegate Assembly? Ms. Creasy.
And I'm happy to second.
And is there a second? Did I hear Ms. Viescaz?
You did.
I did, okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? It is unanimous, and this is a very good choice. All right. We go now to item J, board reports. Do any of the board members have a report? We'll start with Ms. Vasquez is not going to. Mr. Hernandez. I will announce 2 things that I have done. One was a crab feed for the Bella Vista Band. It was wonderful to hear all of the musicians from Bella Vista, from their ensembles, to their percussion, to the whole band, to the jazz band, and so forth. And it was great to see a lot of old friends again. It was held at the Citrus Heights Conference Center, and it was a full house, and so forth. The second thing I want to report to, it was yesterday morning in celebration of 60 years of Peace Corps. I taught kindergarten kids and special day class kids at Del Paso Manor School, and found out that sitting down on a carpet is great, but at my age, getting up is a little tougher than it used to be. It was great to do this. We've been doing it for 20 years, so and hopefully I'll do it for another 20, and so forth. So that ends the board reports for the evening. We now move to item K, which is the future agenda items. Are there any board members that would wish to add future items to the agenda? It appears there are none. We move to our last opportunity for visitor comments, and I see there are none. Thank you very much. We do not need to return to closed session, and therefore I call this meeting to be adjourned. Thank you.